chapter 23.
Now at the start of the 25th year of the judges' rule over the Nephite, they had resolved the conflict between the peoples of Lehi and Morianton over their lands, and began the 25th year peacefully. However, they didn't maintain complete peace in the land for long. Indeed, a dispute arose among the people over the chief judge Pararon. Some of the people wanted a few specific points of the law to be changed. But Pararon wouldn't allow the law to be changed. Therefore he didn't listen to or sympathize with those who petitioned to change the law. As a result, those who wanted the law to be changed got angry with him and didn't want him to be chief judge over the land any longer. As a result, a heated dispute arose about the matter, but not to the point of violence. And those who wanted Parhoran to be dethroned from the judgment seat were called kingmen, since they wanted the law to be changed to abandon the free government and establish a king over the land. Those who wanted Parhoran to remain as chief judge over the land adopted the name of freemen. This divided the people into two factions, with the freemen having sworn or covenanted to maintain their rights and the privileges of their religion by a free government. The dispute was settled by a vote of the people. The people's vote came out in the freemen's favor, and Pararon retained the judgment seat, which caused celebrations among Pararon's brothers and among the people of liberty as well, which silenced the kingmen, who didn't dare oppose the cause of freedom but were obligated to maintain it. Now those who were in favor of kings were of high birth, and they made it their aim to be kings. They were supported by others who wanted power to control the people. This was a critical time for any conflicts like this to be happening among the Nephite. Because Amalickiah had again stirred up the hearts of the Lamanite against the Nephite, and he was gathering soldiers from all over his land and arming them and preparing for war, since he had sworn to drink Moroni's blood. But we'll see that his promise was ill-advised. Nevertheless, he prepared himself and his armies to go against the Nephite in battle. Now his armies had been reduced in number by the many thousands who had been killed by the Nephite. But despite their great loss, Amalickiah had assembled a surprisingly large army, therefore he wasn't afraid to come down to Zarahemla. Indeed, Amalickiah himself led the Lamanite. And it was in the 25th year of the judges' rule, and it was while they were resolving their disputes over the chief judge, Pararon. When the men who were called kingmen learned the Lamanite were coming down to battle against them, they were pleased. So they refused to go to battle, because they were so angry with the chief judge and with the people of liberty that they were determined not to participate in defending their country. When Moroni saw this, and also saw the Lamanite were arriving at the outskirts of the land, he was extremely angry at the refusal of the people he fought so hard to protect. Indeed, he was furious with them. And he sent a petition to the governor of the land expressing the people's will, asking him to give it his attention and to give him, Moroni, power to compel the separatists to either help defend their country or be executed. Now he did this because his first concern was to put an end to conflicts and violent disagreements between the people. Indeed, up to that point, internal fighting had caused all their setbacks and had been their downfall. And the people approved his plan. So Moroni commanded his army to confront the kingmen, to either put down their pride and nobility by cutting them down or compelling them to take up arms and support the cause of liberty. The armies marched out against them, to put down their pride and nobility, and when they lifted their weapons to fight Moroni's men, they were cut down in a slaughter. A total of 4,000 of those separatists were cut down by the sword. Any of their leaders who weren't killed in battle were taken and thrown in prison, since there was no time then for their trials. The rest of those separatists, rather than be cut down by the sword, yielded to the flag of liberty and were compelled to raise the Declaration of Liberty on their towers and in their cities and to go to war in defense of their country. And so Moroni put an end to those kingmen, so there weren't any known survivors of the kingmen. Through this he put an end to the stubborn pride of those people who claimed to have noble blood. They were brought down to humble themselves like their fellow Nephites and to fight valiantly for freedom from slavery. While Moroni was in this way putting an end to the wars and conflicts between his own people and imposing peace and preserving their civilization and organizing a defense for the war against the Lamanites invaded the land of Moroni, by the seashore. because the Nephites weren't strong enough in the city of Moroni, Amalickiah drove them out, killing many. And Amalickiah took the city and control over all their fortifications. Those who fled the city of Moroni came to the city of Nephihah. The people of the city of Lehi also came together and made preparations and were ready to meet the Lamanites in battle. But Amalickiah wouldn't allow the Lamanites to go against the city of Nephihah to battle. Instead, he kept them down by the seashore, putting his men in every city to maintain and defend it. He went on taking many cities, including the cities of Moroni, Lehi, Morianton, Omner, Gid, and Mulek, all of which were near the eastern seashore. And so with Amalickiah's leadership and superior numbers, the Lamanites had overtaken many cities, all of which were strongly reinforced using Moroni's fortifications, which then provided strongholds for the Lamanites. Then they marched to the border of the land of Bountiful, driving the Nephites ahead of them and killing many of them. But there they met Teancum, who had killed Morianton and stopped his people during Morianton's attempted departure. So he confronted Amalickiah while he was marching with his large army to take the land of Bountiful and the land to the north. But those hopes were thwarted when Teancum and his men, who were great warriors, drove them back. Indeed, every one of Teancum's men was superior to the Lamanites both in strength and ability to fight, so they defeated the Lamanites. They attacked the Lamanites repeatedly as they retreated, killing them until it was dark. Then Teancum and his men camped at the border of the land of Bountiful, and Amalickiah camped on the beach near the seashore, where they had been forced to retreat. When it was night, Teancum and his assistant crept quietly in the dark into Amalickiah's camp. The fatigue from fighting and the daytime heat had put them into a sound sleep. Teancum quietly entered the king's tent and impaled his heart with a javelin. The king died immediately without waking his servants. Afterward, Teancum returned quietly to his own camp while his men were sleeping. He woke them up and explained all he had done. He then assembled his armies to stand ready in case the Lamanite were up and preparing to attack them. And so ended both the 25th year of the judge's rule over the Nephite and Amalickiah's life.